Hey, my name's Raven, and I'm a grafter here at Quail Hollow Nursery, owned by Coach Pat Dye. Today we're going to take you through a tour of the gardens and talk a little bit about cultivars. A lot of people don't know too much about what a cultivar is or how it's made or anything, and why. Why do we call them specific names? Cultivars are actually man-made. They're hand-picked and bred for certain characteristics. And today we're going to show you a few of those. This is a Meritocracy Akemi. It has a very tight-knit, bushy structure. This tree is probably about 16 years old. It will get 10 feet wide, 10 feet tall once it's finally full grown. We're actually probably going to have to move a few of these trees. This is a Shana. Shana, and the variations of Shana, you can tell because it has a nub leaf. A lot of these leaves are going to have that one little nub in the middle, that genetic mutation. Sometimes you'll have a few, and it has a lot of different variations in the leaf color. Sometimes you'll have a bright red, you'll have slight variegation, sometimes they'll be green. It's a beautiful tree. Smaller, only gets about 6 feet tall, and it stays very tight-knit and bushy. This is a Cereus. Cereus is one of the only upright dissectums in existence, and this, you cannot beat this red fall color at all. It is so vibrant, it looks like it's on fire. And those leaves are so dainty for an upright. This is a Bloodgood. Bloodgood has beautiful webbing in it, and those little fingernails on the end, and it'll stay this nice deep purple-red color all through the spring, summer, and fall. And Bloodgood is one of the only trees that you can actually grow from seed. Most of them have to be grafted.
So what happens to the seeds that are on the trees?
They will fall and they will actually germinate on the ground. And you can pick up the seedlings if you'd like. You can actually take the seeds off of the tree sometime around August and put them in a damp soil mix, add a little sulfur to keep the mold out, and you can germinate them in your refrigerator. You have to stratify them, leave them in the refrigerator. They'll start germinating around January.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. And then you can take them out and just put them in a pot?
Mm-hmm. Yep, grow them from there. Bloodgood's one of the only trees that can actually survive on its own root system. Normally the root system isn't vigorous enough, doesn't have the disease resistance that you want, which is why you end up grafting onto a regular seedling rootstock. This is a Crimson Queen. Crimson Queen will get about 6 feet tall, maybe 8 feet wide. It has a really nice deep purple color, and it stays that way from spring through fall. It deepens slightly in the fall into a more vibrant red. It's a beautiful tree with that gnarly open structure. And in the summer, sometimes green comes in the middle of the leaf. That is not a very good description. Everred is very similar to Crimson Queen in its growth habit. It gets a little bit bigger, and it has that same similar purple color, and it deepens into a really, really rich red in the fall. The only difference is that it's a little bit more vigorous. It grows a lot faster, and it seems to have a little bit more disease resistance.
So this one has seeds. Could you do the same thing with that one?
Not that I know of. Bloodgood is the only one that I've ever known anybody to grow from seed. Their root systems just aren't vigorous enough to support the tree, only for maybe a year or two, and then it'll die off.
Yeah.
And when you have something like an Everett or a Crimson Queen, the cascading variety, you want to know exactly what you're going to get. This could be crossed with an upright, and you could have half of the tree that wants to cascade, half of it that wants to go up. You could have all different variations in the leaves. So you really want to graft something like that. Moonrise too. This is a moonrise. This is Acer shirishwanum. It's its genus and species. And there's a strain, I think there's autumn moon, moonrise, full moon, and they are all Acer shirishwanum, and they all have that beautiful big round shape of the leaf, like a moon. Amatoy is actually one of my new favorites. We kind of missed a little bit of the spring color. It comes out hot pink. It is so beautiful. And as the summer comes, all that you see that's pink is going to start fading to white, and then it comes back out a brilliant red in the fall. This is emerald lace. Emerald lace has a diver. It is very deep cascade to it. As you can see, it's kind of falling off of the rock right now. It's beautiful. It's got a very dainty leaf. And this one is probably about 16 years old. I'm sorry. Here we have a red feather. Red feather has one of the most dainty dissected leaves in Japanese maples. It's got a beautiful deep red fall color. It's a very slow grower, but at that leaf, you just cannot beat how open that structure is. That's a Shiraz. Shiraz comes out a nice pink in the spring, fades to that yellow and green. You can see the margins around the ends of the leaf. In the fall, the inside will be red, and where you see that margin, that'll be white. This is another Shana. Shana has that very distinct nub leaf in the center. It's a genetic mutation strictly specific to Shana and Skeeter's broom, and I think there's one more cultivar. I love that little nub leaf in the center, and there's so much variety between each leaf color. That new growth always comes out that vibrant red, almost pink, and then it slowly fades into that green with the red margins on the ends. This tree is a Viridis. Viridis has actually become one of my favorite trees in the past year and a half. You cannot beat that open, gnarly structure in the middle, the way it just twists and turns around itself. It's got a very nice, vibrant green to it. It'll fade a little bit in the summer, and then it comes out a rusty orange in the fall. It's incredible.
Is it a slow grower?
Actually, it's pretty vigorous.
About how old would one this size be?
I think this one is about 24 years old.
Oh, wow.
And it gets to be about 8 feet tall, 8 feet wide. This is almost full grown. It's a beautiful specimen. It's got such character, the way the branches just twist and turn around each other.
Beautiful tree.
This is a Peaches and Cream. Peaches and Cream gets to be about 10 feet tall. It's got really nice variegation in the leaves. And in the fall, it almost has a blush peachy color to it. And that variegation comes out so strong. It fades from a nice cream to a blush color. And this is Acer japonicum, genus and species. This is Dancing Peacock. Dancing Peacock is incredible. That leaf is almost palm size. And in the fall, every single leaf on this tree is going to be a different color. You can have yellow, orange, pink, red, purple, any color, it'll appear on it. It is an incredible specimen. And this tree is probably about full grown. This is Abigail Rose. Harold Johnson actually cultivated this tree. He named it after his granddaughter, Abigail. And as you can see, you walk up on it, it looks like a normal green seedling, and when you get closer, you see all this beautiful pink variegation in it. And in the fall, it changes to a beautiful rust and rosy color. And I love the tight-knit structure in it and how bushy it gets all the way up. It's got a beautiful, beautiful structure. And those tiny, tiny little leaves. Once again, this is another Viridis. So you can see it's got a very nice open structure in the middle, and it's very gnarly. It likes to wrap around itself. These leaves are highly dissected. They emerge green in the spring. They deepen a little bit in color in the summer, and then they'll come out a beautiful rusty orange in the fall. Alright, this is a beautiful specimen of a butterfly. This comes out a nice, beautiful cream color in the spring. And every leaf on it twists and turns just slightly. And you can tell that it's different from another cultivar, Benishien. They look very similar, same twisty leaf structure, same beautiful variegation. But this one, Benishien comes out pink instead of this cream. All right, this is another butterfly. Actually, you can barely tell. You can see slightly the cream margins around the ends, but this one is actually reverting back to a normal green seedling. Butterflies tend to do that in their older age. Okay, now let me tell you the difference between a seedling and a cultivar. Coach likes to say, with a seedling, you know who mama is, but you have no idea who daddy is. So you have no idea the growth habit, the structure, what leaf type you're going to get indefinitely. You have the immature leaves that are going to end up either getting bigger, smaller, dissecting. You don't ever know with a seedling. They're beautiful, they're little mutants, but you have no idea what you're going to end up with as a full-grown specimen. Now let's go see a cultivar. And this is a Siriu. This Siriu is grafted. We take a piece from a mother tree. It's called a scion, optimally about 3 to 5 inches with 3 nodes on it. And we perform sort of a surgery and we insert it into a regular seedling. That way we know it's a genetic copy of the mother tree. We know exactly how tall it's going to get, exactly what fall color, growth habit. Everything is a genetic copy of the mother tree. All right, so earlier we were talking about grafting because you want a genetic copy of the mother tree. You want to know exactly how it's going to grow, the growth habit, if it's going to cascade, if it'll be upright, what the spring, summer, fall color are going to be. This is a tree that I grafted this year. I think it was grafted around about January. As you can tell, it is taken. This is our scion. This is the piece that we took from the mother tree. You want a terminal bud because that's normally where you have the strongest bud break. But this one actually broke from the lowest bud, and it has a beautiful solid break. It's already hardened off some. I need to stake that pretty soon so that it'll stay nice and upright. It won't lean over too far. And we'll probably come back through and cut that right there so that this will die back to those 2 buds. And next year, it'll break out and form a nice scaffolding at the top. And this is our grafting, and as you can tell, we took our scion, we made a chisel cut in the scion, and we cut right below the bark. Your cambium is your vascular system, and that exists. It's a very thin layer right below the bark. It's probably only a few cells wide, and your chisel cut and your pocket cut have to line up perfectly on that vascular system. So you want to line it up on one side, and then we wrap it with this tape just to give it a little bit of protection, and we seal it off with some grafting wax to ensure that no moisture will drip down into the union and kind of spoil the callus. Think of it like a scab. If you leave a Band-Aid on a scab for too long, that scab's not going to harden off. As soon as you take the Band-Aid off, it's just going to rip right off. So you don't want any moisture to get in there, so you want to seal it off so that callus forms really nicely. We take the rootstock, which is just green Japanese maple seedling, Acer palmatum, and we cut it off about 6 inches above the graft union because they're prone to infection, and they will actually gum up at each one of these nodes to prevent the infection from traveling down the vascular system. So we want to leave just a little bit of defense for it. But since this is taken, it's got a beautiful break on it. I'm not seeing any discoloration. I'm going to probably take and back cut this one right about here. Put some grafting wax on the top again because you're creating a huge wound in the tree, and you don't want to in any way invite any kind of fungal, bacterial, any kind of pathogens into it. This one is an example that was also grafted this fall. This is an orange dream. This one has already been back cut. There's wax on it. I'm probably going to take the tape off in about a month or so. I just want to make sure that that callus is good and hardened off and healed. And this one has actually had about 1, 2, 3, 4 bud breaks on it. It's got a beautiful scaffolding already. I might want to stake this one up alongside that one just so it doesn't lean too far to one side. And that is a finished graft for the fall of 2017. This is a year-old graft. This is a Japanese sunrise. As you can tell, that's where I made my back cut from last year. Eventually, this is going to die off as the graft merges to the middle of the tree, and you'll just be able to flick that off. But there's a beautiful healing in that. There's no random bubbles in that callus. It's got a beautiful, smooth heel to it. And that one has probably jumped about 6 inches this growing season. about there, all the way around. All of this is new growth. Nice, vigorous, beautiful growth. This is a beautiful cultivar.